everything we've sought, like whether we're talking about vocabulary, we talked a lot about, oral language, reading. One of the things that keeps coming back to me in my brain is being intentional, and maybe even with the strategies they use or the instructional routines they use. Am I picking up on something that maybe you haven't said, but it does seem like we need to be extremely intentional.
Yes.
With everything we do, really.
With everything. And that's, I've been using the word explicit, but yes, intentional is probably even a better, we think of explicit instruction, which some say it's actually student-friendly instruction because it's letting students know what they need to know and do. But you're right, intentional, especially when it comes to language development, we need those intentional opportunities to show students, to point it out to them, to let them use it in practice. Turn to your partner and say that. Remember when we did that yesterday? Let's think about, and just multiple exposures to those same words and concepts is what's going to help students internalize that language and be able to use it. And it's related to reading.
Well, and I'll never forget, it was several years ago when we could actually be together in person. It was that phrase. I know, I bet you remember this. And I really picked up on this. You said intentional redundancy.
Yes.
And I love that idea of being, because the word redundancy, right, can sometimes have a negative connotation.
Right.
But in terms of instruction and what we're doing with our multilingual, I got to get that going off my tongue. Multilingual learners, it's a good thing, right? To be very intentional and doing things over and over again.
And redundant, so we see it, we say it, we point it out when we see it in text, we talk about it, you write it down, you have your vocabulary notebook, your individual vocabulary note, you write it down. The teacher, when we come across in the book, reading again, we say, is that in your notebook? There's just redundancy in a positive way. So they have those multiple exposures.
Right. What I do in whole group, I do in small group, maybe even feeds into my ELD time and all of the things that I, if I'm doing independent practice or collaborative practice during small group time, or maybe something doing on the computer, it's all sort of connected and talking to one another.